Hello, it's been a while. Ooh, the sun is in my face, but it's good to do these videos with the garden as my backdrop, even though, as you can see, it's been neglected. First I should answer the question, where have you been, Dustin? And why have you not been casually gardening and casually filming it? And the answer to that question is, I have been casually gardening. As you can see, it's been more casual than usual. This is last year's garden, and so the purpose of this video is just to show you, I'm going to film kind of a before. I'm going to do a separate video about preparing my garden for the new season, because the way I'm going to do it is a little bit different this year, because I have different goals, and the way we garden should always reflect our goals. But I also want to talk about where did I go and what was going on. So basically, I got a job. While I was making a lot of videos, I had no job. I was unemployed because of the pandemic, and kind of smack in the middle of it, I decided, let's become a science teacher at a junior high school. And that was, well, it's really hard, but also amazing. And I'd like to keep being a science teacher. In fact, a lot of my subscribers are now students who found me on YouTube, and despite my recommendation to please watch something else, this will be boring, they subscribe. So, hi kids. There's a lot to do here, and well, first of all, why wasn't I, well, teaching is busy work, and I was just too busy to make videos. It takes, even at this really low quality I work at, it takes about 3 or 4 hours just to make one of my little dorky ones, because I have to edit out all of the ums and filler noises that people naturally make, so I don't drive myself crazy watching it, and hopefully you get some benefit out of it as well. So yeah, I am going to be preparing this garden to sell my house, because it turns out my wife also got a new job, and we're moving to a new city, and so that's new. I'm going to miss all of the kids at the school I've been working at. This is my last year there. And then after that we're going to move to Logan, Utah from West Valley, Utah. You'd think that since it's still Utah, it would be really similar gardening-wise. But I'm going to see a drastically shorter season when I get there, and also the soil is going to be different, as will the annual precipitation and summer temperatures and winter temperatures. So a lot's going to be different, and that's going to change the way I garden. So I'm going to try to start making videos on the regular again, because I think that starting fresh in a new garden is something that will help a lot of people out, because I know a lot of videos out on YouTube are people who have been gardening for a while and they have an established garden, and you don't get to see everything that goes into making this big organized thing happen. You don't get to see what we're starting from and what the thought process is when we choose our site, and when we decide how we're going to irrigate it, and where we're going to situate it, and what we're going to do to get the soil ready for that first year's crops. And maybe the first year's crops are going to be different from the second year's crops, because we're going to have fixed the soil up a little bit. So one way that the soil is different in Logan, Utah than it is here in West Valley City, Utah, is that here in this place, and it's not the same for the whole city, I have sandy loam soil. And if you don't know what soil is about, if you're like, I don't know what that means, it's perfect. It's perfect gardening soil. It has good drainage, but it holds on to nutrients well. The plants root easily in it, and it supports them. I've been truly blessed to garden here. All I have to do, basically, in this location is pull back, dig off the lawn, get rid of it, because you can't garden in lawn. Lawn is worthless and useless. And just slap my bed down, fill it up, and I'm ready to go, which is amazing. In Logan, there I'm going to be dealing with heavy clay soil, and I'm actually going to still have good fertility but drainage is going to become a big issue. So right here, I've got raised beds because it's something to sit on. I can sit on it while I weed. I can get in here. And because I have amended the soil well, the weeds come up easily. And that's really the only reason I need it. Sure, it warms up a little faster in the spring, but it's been really warm. That's not important here. In Logan, with the heavy clay soil, I'm going to need to work on drainage more. So the raised beds are going to help actually with the soil and help me grow things. I will be adding a lot of organic matter to the soil because that will help with keeping the roots from drowning as well, and it will help with the drainage. So yeah, let's go and take some videos of different parts of the garden so you can see what my neglect looks like with my busy new job. So I'm going to grab the camera and drag you around. Right, so here are some of my older beds. This one, as you can see, I was growing peppers in, and I actually had tremendous success in my pepper garden. I grew more peppers than I knew what to do with, and then I got really busy and I just let them all die with a lot of unharvested peppers. If you are really into growing peppers, you can transplant them into a pot and let them overwinter into your house. So my goal with this bed, I'm just going to remove the larger litter, put a fresh layer of compost on top, and it's good to go. Over here I have actually a lot of unharvested carrots in here. Because I will be selling my house, I may choose to do nothing to this bed aside from cleaning it up. So I'll pull out my, there's a bunch of dead carrot leaves. That's fine. Carrots are a biennial crop, so they're all going to come back up because I didn't pick them. They're not going to be edible, but they're going to produce a lot of beautiful flowers. And they're going to look good until I sell my house. They'll stop looking good after I sold my house, but that's not important. So these are probably, this is going to be a little impromptu carrot flower bed. Over here is where I grew beets and spinach under cover. As you can see, I've got a little bit of elephant garlic that just stayed and came back up. Here's an unharvested beet. So my goal here, again, I'm just going to remove the larger things. I'm going to take out that perennial weed. That's biennial, sorry. And throw on a new layer of compost. So my goal this weekend here in my strawberry bed is just to yank out all the dead material, throw in some new compost, and let it keep rocking. It doesn't need to be thinned this year, I don't think. Over here is where I was planting kohlrabi. This is kind of fun because I learned a couple things. I learned that if you cut it off, so here, let's see, can you see that okay? There's sun here, it's hard to see how much you can see. So right here is where I cut off the original plant, and then it just grew a bunch of new stalks of kohlrabi on it, and it overwintered. This is all stuff I planted actually last spring. So I grew my spring crop, and then I cut it down and I ate it, and I grew. It just naturally gave me a little bit of fall harvest with no extra effort, and then some of it even came back from the winter or survived the winter. I'm probably just going to chop it all down and clean this up because it'll look better. Over here is the mess I started filming in front of. This is my tomato bed. I'm going to cut everything down. This year I'm not starting tomatoes from seed because it's too late, and I'm just going to be selling the things anyway, so I'm probably going to get some cheaper tomatoes, some determinate varieties that will do well in cages and are a little bit less effort, and just set this up so it looks good to sell. Over here, this looks like a terrible mess. You might be thinking, what are you going to do? But it's actually really easy to clean up. I'm just going to pull off all this dead material. This is my asparagus bed, and I actually have until May to take care of this. I'm going to pull my weeds, throw on a fresh layer of compost, and it's just good to go. Over here, you see I was growing corn. Yay! And it actually did pretty well. This was corn I never got around to harvesting, and the ears were terrible. But I did harvest. I grew some flint corn. It did very well. I grew some sweet corn. It did badly. I'm just going to chop down all these stalks. Again, throw down a layer of compost on top and call it good. Then over here, oh, is that a, well, here we have a dead bird in my garden. That's too bad. So we're going to bury that. Anyway, this is my raspberry bed. So you can see I've got my trellises. All I have to do here is a little bit of light weeding and throw on a new layer of compost. And that'll be cleaned up. Yay! So I don't have to worry about doing a lot, even though the garden looks terrible. This is going to take me some hours to do, and I'm not going to make you watch. We're just going to pull a before and after thing. So here it is before. This is my last look at the garden as we have finished loading things into our shed and we're on our way out. So this is what I spent all my time doing, and will spend a bunch of time doing again. You can see that I've dolled it up. I've got some beautiful little annual and perennial flowers making borders in there to hide the fact that I didn't actually do any gardening this year. My strawberries are going crazy. I didn't plant this tomato. It just volunteered here. So if you were curious about whether you can just sow seeds in the very late spring, even before the last frost, the answer is yeah. In this zone you can. Here's my asparagus bed, and over here, the back, my raspberries that are just absolutely blasting off and I don't get to eat any. Goodbye, garden. It's been amazing, and I'm excited to build my next one.